I don't think that made it in, Joe.
Hello
All
and
right.
welcome to Indie Bants. Sorry, I was just messing with Jimmy before we started. I thought it'd be fun to say something stupid just before we went live, and I think it worked. This is Indie Bants, the podcast where we talk about all sorts of stuff, including indie games. I'm Joe. If you're watching us live, I'm giving you a wee wave. If you're not, well, you know what a wave looks like. And I'm joined by Jimmy, who's also giving you a wave, but not saying anything, which is great for audio listeners there.
I was just thinking specifically about the audio listeners there by just waving.
Just by fucking with them.
I bet they felt the wave though. You felt the earnestness of the wave.
It was the most earnest of waves.
It was a sincere and earnest wave.
We're almost on a proper schedule now, which is nice, isn't it?
I know.
So it's been 2 weeks since our last one, and it's nice to kind of attempt to get into a routine and have audio that works and all this kind of stuff.
I
hope the audio is really silky.
We had a good last time. We fixed it last time, and it's there'll be no problems this time. So
we hope watch it all break midway through. I mean, I was watching the like old things, not like in a weird way. I wasn't just watching us back. I was going through some of the old podcasts and streams, and one of them had the word power cut in it because I just had a power cut. Like just before we went live, I was having power cuts all morning. Well, fucking ate those words, didn't I? Because I don't know if you remember, last Monday, Spain had like a nationwide power cut, which was
impressive, isn't it? To have a
flipping mental
power cut. That is crazy.
I think there was a lot of chat going around in the news about this as well.
Someone
and
just forgot to pay the bill.
Basically, well, I was going to say, I forget who said it, but don't put down to malice what you can put down to incompetence. And having dealt with Spanish civil servants, I'm like,
that is
someone
like a perfect description.
Someone definitely spilt their coffee on some like Homer Simpson-esque style buffoonery could have occurred here. I have no doubt. I'm like, I don't think it's like international hackers trying to like, no. I mean, why Spain above, it's such a weird thing. And you know what? It's except for the people like who got trapped in lifts for hours, like sweet Jesus. I'm glad that didn't happen to me.
Yeah, not pleasant.
But
why though? That is impressive. Like I heard about that, I was like, "There's no way that's the entire country." It's like, "Oh, the entire country." At the same time, like, how on earth do you manage that?
Well, we didn't know that. We were having a donned around. Literally, Dom Bandit had just arrived for a visit, and I mean, like 2 hours after his flight landed, 200 flights in and out of Spain were like cancelled that day. Like 200 in and 200 out. A lot of them would have been the same planes. Obviously, like it didn't land in Spain, so it never took back off. But 200 different flights were cancelled across the day, and he'd landed like 90 minutes previous. And we're having a little donned around, and like, oh, it's nice. I'm like, oh, it's a lovely, beautiful day. Oh, let's go just grab a cheeky drink from the supermarket, and then we'll go to the video games museum in Malaga, which is, nice thing to do. Not very good during a power cut, to be fair. You're just looking at a lot of plastic boxes. So we didn't actually get to that, but we just went past like several supermarkets, and they were open, but with the lights off, and the staff stood outside. And initially I thought it was like, oh, is there some kind of strike across this chain of supermarkets? And then later on, I'd like got a message in one of my WhatsApp groups saying, oh, there's a nationwide power cut. Oh, what's going on here? And then after that, we had like no signal and like no phone signal, messages weren't getting through, no Wi-Fi, nothing. We had a wander along the beach for a couple of hours and ended up having to get a bus, which was chaotic at the best, as everyone was like trying to squeeze on a bus because I'd parked the car in another town to go into the city, and it was a whole thing. But most people just were like, right, let's fuck off early from work. Like a lot of people were just like, well, we're not getting any work done, let's go home. So by the time we like left the city at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the roads were really quiet. And most people were just like sat in bars, just like paying with cash, just sat out on terraces. We're just like, let's go for a cheeky like Monday afternoon drink. I'm like, love it. I was very grateful that it had happened in Spain and not in the UK even though it was very sunny in the UK on the same day, I'm just feeling the reaction would have been a little different from my experience of
been a bit more anger, maybe a few more attempted robberies of shops and things.
I didn't hear much about like looting or anything. Like it's not like
looting requires effort though.
It just everyone was like, "Oh, I was just going for a drink." So yeah, we had a.
It's easier just to sit down and have a nice drink.
That's it. We had that power cut, and then when we got back home, there was like one restaurant that was open in town and just had a big sign outside saying, "We've got no power, but we've got €5 hamburgers," and they just had a propane barbecue like out the front of the bar and a load of candles in the bar just so they could like see. So we just went for a beer and a couple of like makeshift burgers. And then when it got dark, they were like, "We're gonna have to shut because like you can't see your way home and stuff." But so we just like walked home with the light on our phones. So good fun.
Good fun. Yeah, we didn't have any nationwide power outages here.
I just felt it would have fell on a podcasting day. Actually, it feels like the kind of thing that.
It'd been interesting if you just completely disappeared in the middle of the podcast.
And just you're like, what's going on?
And
yeah, but at least I wasn't in.
Joe has completely disappeared.
Yeah, but one in a lift.
Yeah.
Anyway, what about you? Anything nationwide happened to you?
Just the local elections. Which are nowhere near as exciting to talk about than a nationwide outage.
No. I know
so we'll leave the politics talk.
I was going to say we play it fast and loose with topics we can talk about on this pod, but I feel that's one that I just don't want to fucking touch with a massive barge pole. So
no, or even a small one.
Just
any size barge pole, really.
0 poles.
Regular pole. Why is it always a barge pole? Why don't other poles get a look in?
I know, like pole vault poles.
Pole vault pole. If anything, that would be quite a good one. It's lightweight, isn't it?
On my pal Piot, he's a massive pole. I don't actually have a Polish mate called Piot. To be fair, that wasn't just a bit, but he is a big guy as well.
He's massive.
Huge in Poland.
But yeah, no, like nothing. I haven't got anything really exciting to talk about over the last 2 weeks. We did get appliances.
Nice.
We got a dryer. We got a brand new dryer.
How does it work? You try it out?
Yeah, it dries clothes. It's nice. That is it. That's the amount of excitement that's been here for the last couple of weeks. We've been getting the back of the house sorted, so the little laundry room's nearly done. We put appliances in it.
Nice.
These are the things you get excited about when you have 2 young kids that take up most of your time
and most of your laundry.
Yeah, so like being able to get it done faster is actually legitimately exciting.
Well, we always get a good drying day, but we're getting hot water upstairs today. That's all.
Wow.
After
we're both entering the 21st century.
I think we're both entering our 40s, I think is what's going on here.
It is mad how like the shift of what you get excited about from your youth to your middle age is you do get excited about appliances.
No, I mean, when we got our washer and it played music, we're like, this is the future. This is amazing. Like
just sat by it by candlelight at nighttime with your cold water.
Yeah. No, we've got hot water downstairs. It's just the house is weird. It has 2 separate hot water circuits because it used to be like 2 gaffs, I think. Or it was 1 gaff, then they split it into 2 and then it became a singular gaff.
And nobody thought along the lines to maybe marry up those hot water circuits.
No, and I mean even when we like asked the seller like 2 weeks into living here, we're like, because we hadn't used any of the hot water upstairs, we're like, how'd you get the hot water on upstairs? He's like, there's no hot water on upstairs. I'm like, oh, of course not. How silly of us.
Why would there be?
Yeah, like why would there be?
This is the 14th century.
I mean, they did live exclusively downstairs, which was very odd. They like didn't use like 2/3 of the house.
They hid the victims, Joe. That's why.
We did see a house that had like an underground like cellar thing, which was I didn't even look in it. I was like, nope. It was just it was like a manhole cover with like a metal ladder, just fixed metal wrought iron ladder into a hole under the house. Like there's a basement. I'm like,
horror movie right there.
That's where they keep the bodies. No, thank you.
Well, that's where the weird, like, creepy old person who, like, has been inexplicably alive for hundreds of years and keeps like getting victims. There's always that in a horror movie, isn't there? There's always some like entity that lives in the house.
Oh yeah, there's
And it's
some
just
kind of
obsessed with like murdering people that come into the house.
some kind of supernatural tenant. Not like you.
If anything, it's probably like quite a good would you call it an analogy for what happens to people if they don't leave the house? They do sort of become a little bit weird and bitter, don't they? Like just get out a bit more. That's what we should say to these horror movie murderers who live in houses. Just go outside for a little bit. Go to
And
a
large
cafe for
portions of
5
the
minutes.
gaming community. I'm
Just leave the house.
I am a firm believer in that. Not as the insult when people are shit at a game, but the whole touch grass thing. I feel that's certainly
Yeah, the benefits
like
of
just
getting outside.
get out when you can. That sounds like a threat. You know what I mean?
It's been proven massively by the horror movie industry. Just that is it. That's the only reason they all get like that. Like that clown. It's because he's in the gutter all the time. Like just let him outside the gutter for 5 minutes and he'd be all right.
Donald Trump.
No, I don't think there's any fixing him.
Different clowns.
different clowns for different needs.
Yeah.
If anyone gets that, I'll be very pleased.
I don't get that. I don't know the reference. It feels like a Sunny reference, but
no,
I can't remember.
I'll not actually. Different clowns for different needs.
Anyway,
I'm quite pleased with that one.
Nice. I did want to chat not about a game I've played, but a game that I want to play, and I think it could be a series. Because I've just recently finished up. Like last month, I finished up with like stupid amounts of work, and one of them was a game translation. And this isn't the game I was translating. I don't know where I stand with NDAs and stuff like that to talk about which game it is, but I've hid it in the show notes, Jim. If you want to fire it up, Chance of Sinar. Just this has been out for a while. It's highly recommended. But the idea is basically it's a puzzle game that you have to like decipher a language.
I like the look of it.
So it looks mint. I don't know how transferable the skills are. You know, I don't know if being like a professional translator will help me at all this, but I thought it'd be an interesting maybe like streaming series to do. I know I've seen a lot of these kind of formats in elsewhere around the internet, you know, where people with certain professionalisms play games that like play on that, like on their like vocation, as it were. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that'd be something humorous to watch me be like shit at a game that is like essentially my job. But I thought it could be
it looks really cool. It's different, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean the problem is it's definitely kind of like a puzzle game, which I'm normally not very good at because I just, you know, play a lot of games to unwind. So it might be something that just doesn't work at all for me. But I think it's something that I could enjoy, and we could make a series of it. And we could conversely do something like if you could pick a game as well, we could do parallel series where like 1 week I have a blast of that game and you go out and find another game. And it'd be like, I mean, it might out us as like absolute frauds. There is that risk. You know, it's like imposter syndrome's real and actually ours is well deserved.
Yeah, but that one looks it looks quite interesting.
I feel that could be a good little.
It's reminding me of something. You know what? Actually, do you remember the indie game Sable?
Yes, with the is that the one with the is it like ships across the desert? Or am I thinking of something else?
Almost like an exploration sort of game with. It just has that same kind of like Mobius style comic book look to it that one had.
I never played it. I've got the link here for you if you want to fire it up so viewers can see what the crack on is with it.
Yeah, I've got it up here. I'll fire
let's
it up.
Let's have a swatch of this because it's it feels like
it has a very similar look to it. I think as this.
It's a lot of like cell shading going on.
It just looks like a Mobius style. Oh, I'll say Mobius style. It's just the name that comes to my mind when I see this style of art. But that kind of artwork, it just looks Looks quite similar to this. There's probably a little bit more detail in this than there was in the last one, but it just reminds me of that. Yeah, the cell shading.
It's a strong aesthetic. I think it's a. I think there's also something to be said for that. The aesthetics of games coming back, like the nostalgia effect. I'm fairly certain that runs on like a 20-year cycle. So, like, I think 10 years is too soon for people to get really, really nostalgic about. Not on like a zeitgeisty kind of level, you know. If you get me, it's like this is like, well, this game came out in 2021, and definitely looks a lot like early, like noughties games. You know, when cell shading was huge, when they like didn't quite have the fidelity for like high res textures. So you get games. It's always jet set or jet grind radio, depending on which locale you bought the game in. But you know, those kind of games that had cell shading up the wazoo, the early Dragon Ball games, the early fighting games, they all had extensive. I mean, that was obviously to replicate like comics and manga and animation, but it was also something that worked really well at the time. But it's a strong look in the same way that, like, I think in like the 2010s there was that like pixel art resurgence, which obviously it's still there. There's still a lot of pixel art crack ongoing, but I think it's time. It's the early 2000s visuals coming back now. Whatever generation that was, PS2, Dreamcast, this original Xbox, that kind of era. I think that's those are the aesthetics that I think look like they're making a comeback now. But yeah, I feel like both those games should be worth playing. Sable maybe on my own time. I remember seeing this when it came out as well. This came out.
Highlighted it years ago when
I was going to say it's an Indie Bandits era title, because when did we start? 2018, 2019?
2019, I think, going into 2020. Yeah,
I think. Yeah, did I start? Yeah,
you might have started it a bit earlier.
Yeah, the blog started like a year before everybody got involved, and then I feel this was one we talked about in an early podcast episode. But also moving on, because I want to talk about games we've been playing, and I really want to talk about Valheim, since we're both finally getting into this in a big way, because it was like a year and a half ago that we gave it a blast, and we got into it and played a few sessions of it and didn't. Yeah. And we dropped off it, not because we didn't like it. I think some just stuff happened. We were playing it like before Christmas, and we went to, obviously we had the Christmas holidays, and we never like picked it back up. And it was our replacement after like Rainbow Six Siege as like a PC game that we could all play. But we were looking for something more chill where we could actually like hang out and have a game session where you can also talk to one another, because Siege doesn't lend itself to that at all, does it really? It's between sessions. We've talked about this before. There's games that have different flow, and this felt like one that had a good enough flow.
Well, this is a trailer, though.
Now we got in. Yeah, the trailer looks nothing like the game. It just seems like, I mean, it looks cool as hell. Definitely get you excited about it.
Or something.
But it's just, I don't think the trailer does it justice if you watch the Valheim trailer. But it's a cool game for those who haven't heard about it. It's like Minecraft with Vikings, but also with more seemingly like more robust RPG elements built into it.
Yeah,
that's it. That's totally underselling it, describing it as that. It's a very good game. I'm not being obviously dismissive of it by calling it that, but if it was a shorthand to quickly get you the idea of its survival, crafting, building in a sort of like large area in like a Viking theme. Should send you my screenshot of that troll butt from the other day.
Like it, yeah,
when I sat in a troll's crevice, downing it. But yeah, we were playing this, and we were getting like we played it for with some good decent amount of hours into it, and we built ourselves a little base, and we were like doing really like the crafting side of stuff, weren't we? We're having a little chill life in this like Norse mythological land, where we were just like hunter gatherers, peasant farmers, weren't we? Just like lumberjacks, just going down and like cutting down all the trees and mining like stone, and then just building like large structures to live in, like a huge.
Kind of just stuck in the very, very early loop of the game, didn't we? We never really tried to.
Well, we were just stuck in the like crafting loop, and we weren't in. We hadn't even like.
I think the headphones have just gone off.
Oh no! Well, I'm gonna keep talking anyway, Jim. But we were stuck in this kind of interesting loop of the crafting without actually touching any of the adventure side of things.
Right, second set.
Backup headphones for Jimmy. Very sharp. We can see your new haircut, Jim. You can't hear us telling you about your new haircut, but you're yeah. I could have been saying anything, Jim. You have no idea.
Let's have a look here.
So, anyway, back to Valheim. We were.
Oh, I can hear you.
Nice. I was just talking about how your new headphones show off your haircut better, Jimmy.
They do.
So I was saying we were stuck in the crafting loop, and we weren't really doing any of the adventuring loop. We had our little base. We'd had a whole boar farm operation going on when we found out you could tame boars, and then we got attacked by some little beastie things one evening, and we woke up the next morning. Boars were gone. They'd been fled or slaughtered. We had no idea.
I think they've been slaughtered because there was a lot of leather scraps around.
Fair enough. I didn't.
I just we were off. I think that's when we were fighting that boss, and we got a little bit sidetracked.
It's probably not even a boss. To be fair, it's probably the first thing you're supposed to do in the game is like go fight this thing, and then it shows you like. But we'd done fighting, like we'd used like weapons to kill the beasties that were just out and about in our immediate vicinity, but we'd never went and like triggered any events or delved into any caves. And then we were like, we've been doing this for a few days. Like, how tough is this, like in-game days and real life days? How tough is this like thing going to be? And then we were like way overpowered for it, weren't we? This like
it wasn't
even a challenging fight because we'd just been like building stuff and leveling up and getting decent. It's probably the lowest level of stuff you can get in the game. It's still probably very early doors, just because we were so like engrossed in the construction element of it.
It was just such a disappointment. Like this, I've told you before the story of Steve the horse on Skyrim.
Yes,
I had my loyal steed, and
it was in my loyal Steve. Both
he decided to get involved in a scrap I was having on Skyrim, and he was unfortunately slain. And when he was killed, he fell into a river and was swept away. And I had to, because I was that upset about the situation, I lost like an hour and a half or 2 hours of a gameplay and went back to the point at which Steve was alive because I didn't want Steve to go. And we can't do that on Valheim, but I was similar levels of upsetness when we got back and 15 of our boars had been killed by probably some little lowly,
some shit munching troll type thing.
Yeah, broke into the camp and killed everybody, and I was like, oh, that was a lot of effort put into raising that family of boars.
But it is kind of not. It's like the start of our villain arc.
Boring. All with fantastic pun names.
Yeah. But it did kind of like push us to go and do something else in the game. So there is that. And it's like, then we started like fighting things and exploring dungeons and, and I think we've got a really good loop now, but I feel we're probably going to like swing between the two. I feel like the next few sessions are going to be predominantly like adventuring, and then we're going to come back and go, oh, we've got all this stuff to build. Let's spend like 2 weeks like upgrading like the entire base, and then the game's probably going to throw us a curveball going, you don't even live here anymore. That was beginner shit muncher island, and now you're in the real world, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
But yeah, mint.
On your own. But it's good fun. We're enjoying it, aren't we? So
yeah.
Plus I mean, like each of the aspects of it are quite enjoyable. Like the building is good fun, as well as the exploration side of it.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying this last time we were playing. Still can't believe it's like an early access game. It's
it feels very complete for it being early.
There's a lot of jank in it. I don't know if that's something they'll be working on, like the controlling of like fighting and stuff, like the
pathfinding of the enemies.
the pathfinding of the enemies, the way they run around, the way you stab with a spear is like you don't seem to have any like verticality to how high or low you stab. So if you don't like line up perfectly with an enemy, if an enemy's like downhill from you, you can't point your spear down and stab at it in the same way you can't point it up to stab at it. You've got to just hope they're on the same level.
You've got to be on the same level, yeah.
And it feels that feels a bit jank, but it's not. It doesn't take away from the enjoyment. It's just something you play with. Do you know what I mean? You just play the game.
It's the point blank arrow shots when like you think there's no way I can possibly miss this, and then the thing in front of you just does like an immediate 90-degree turn. It's like out the way. Like, how would you do that? They move so weirdly sometimes that a lot of shots that you think there's no way I'm missing this just end up missing.
Yeah, because they don't run in it. They don't. None of the beasties seem to have any momentum to their run.
No,
like, there's no weight behind it. They are just like
immediate, like 180-degree, like
to the other way,
in the other direction. Like, what?
Yeah,
that's good fun. There's one that I meant to mention actually in a previous session or podcast, which I actually downloaded the demo of and played the other day.
Oh, nice.
Is Strategos. I'll share the
I'll have a look at this.
Sort of like Total War type game. And
it stinks. It reeks of Total War. At least I mean,
But I believe its focus is on like the battles are much larger. The graphic sort of fidelity isn't as high, but I think they've done that so that they can have more, and it's more realistic. So one of the things, it's still I think there's still a little bit needs doing to it.
It's due out soon though, isn't it? Well, it says it's got a release date 2025, so sometime this year.
Definitely a few improvements made to the information that is relayed to you when you like hover over units and stuff like that. It's very densely populated information with lots of numbers, and it like in the heat of battle, it's impossible to be like, right, what the one I'm looking for here is like trapped in amongst lots of pointless information. I'd like them to make that a bit clearer, but I did like how realistic it was. So for example, if your units are near your general, they'll react to your commands very quickly, but if they're not, you have to send a courier out from the general to that unit to translate that unit the command to that unit. So you can't make decisions like on the fly. You've got to make sure that you've got like a proper plan in place and that you've got everything positioned correctly. And if things do start to go wrong, you can't just like change it. And also, unlike in a lot of RTS games, certain units, when they're engaged in certain actions, can't be commanded. So you can't command a unit that is in the middle of a scrap with another unit. They won't just like do something else. They're in the middle of like a fight for their life. They won't just like turn around and walk away when you tell them to. So
that's cool.
You have to really pick your engagements properly, and the learning curve will be quite high, but I imagine it'll be very rewarding if a plan comes off, because it's a lot trickier. It doesn't come with the sort of the cheat codes. That cheat code is a harsh thing to say, but the cheat codes of other strategy games where you basically just tell the units what to do all the time and they'll obey you no matter what is going on.
You're not omnipotent like in other ones. You're not
exactly,
you're playing the role. This is more of like you are actually a general in this. With everything that comes with it, you're not an omnipotent being that's just like controlling like every like human on the map and every horse on the map and all this stuff. It's not like it's kind of like halfway between like you know how like the game The Sims.
Yes.
This is what makes me think of it. You know how like the characters in The Sims have like to an extent free will. You can tell them what you want them to do, but if they have overriding needs or desires, they won't do it.
Yeah.
Or like a Tamagotchi or like a virtual pet. It's almost like you can tell these guys what to do, but all the other factors of battle are kind of like realistically rendered and played out for better or worse. I feel this is something like, if you're totally into this kind of thing, which I know you are, it's it's a bonus to be like, oh yeah, that's cool because I need to tell these guys to go now because by the time the courier gets to them, they need they need to be told first because I can't tell these guys to go now because by the time the message gets to them, they'll not.
It's a lot less forgiving. Like if you make a mistake with like deployment or a command, like you can't just rectify that immediately like you can in other games. And there'll be a big learning curve because I know for a fact that like when I played the demo, I kept like doing that, like stop doing that. But I was like, oh, I forgot. Like you need to actually send the courier out to like relay that message, and it was definitely. And there's, as I say, there's definitely some quality of life improvements they want to make to it. But I like the idea of it. I like the size of it, and also apparently there's like 250 factions, no, 250 unique units and 120 unique factions, so you can pick like almost anything. And the size of the battles is huge, so I'm definitely going to keep my eye on that one and jump into it when the full release is out. But it's just one of the ones I want to highlight because I had a go of it and I was pretty pleased with where it was. That's certainly a little bit of improvement required on some of the information you're given, but aside from that, I thought it was pretty cool.
It definitely feels like just a Jimmy game. It feels like from all the games I've known you play throughout your life, I'm like, this feels like the one where it goes, what if you really got into that genre in a big way? It's like, what is the natural end point for someone who's really into this kind of?
Yeah.
It's the difference between like going from like, arcade races to like the full on sim with like full damage and and all the like things that would annoy people, like me playing the Formula 1 game and still having the formation lap on. I'm like no, I want to warm the tires. Like
that's it.
I want to go through the start. I want to do this. I want a game where you drive it. I want a game where you drive into the pit box yourself. I don't want this auto drive shit. No, but there are like full on sim games where you've got to do the park. You've got to put the pit limiter on when you arrive in the pit lane. You can get done for speeding in the pit lane. If you want, you could just like swerve and mow down another pit crew and be game over. It's like stuff like that where you're in the control of the car at every point of the game. This feels like the RTS equivalent to like full on sim.
Yeah, it's almost like how much realism do you want to put into your experience? And then the other side of it is like, with a more realistic version of what it is you're doing, you're almost like testing your competency at it as well. Like, okay, given a more realistic environment, how good am I at this?
Yeah.
Am I good at it when all of the sort of like the help is added to it? Like, this is a more harsher test and a less forgiving test of how good you are at this type of a game, I think.
Well, the ultimate would be like the VR version of this, where you're just like first person standing over a hill, and you give out the and you're like squinting down. You're like, and people are coming back to you, going, "These guys, squad one," and you're like trying to like visualize it looking over the top of a hill or whatever.
That's when you need like the plan in your head, like, okay, if that's happening there, then I know that this is happening there, and I know where they are on the map, and terrain becomes a much bigger thing as well. And like, you gotta be careful where
even if you had like a mini map next to you, which isn't real, but you can move the stuff around as the reports come in, going, a courier comes running back and says, "Oh yeah, this unit's here and they've broken through here, and we estimate there's this many of them." I mean, that would be full on like Anorak mode, because you wouldn't even like see any of it play out. It'd be just you looking at it.
I don't think that would be as enjoyable.
I think it would if you had VR and it would have voice commands.
Yes,
so you've got VR and you're looking over the field and there's people coming up to you. And you've got to like, I mean, who knows with like, voice recognition and AI, how they couldn't like program something that where you actually shout the command saying, "These guys need to flank up here" and stuff. And then you
walking in on someone playing that type of a game. That would make for some good content. That just
just guy. What's it called when they've got like, they're just like retreat. No, it's the one that it's not the same thing. There's a Dara O'Brien joke about watching a different type of content on a VR, and he goes, the worst thing that would happen is that imagine if like people came into your house and you have no idea that anyone's entered your house, and you're watching this type of content on your VR headset and doing the kind of things you do when you watch certain types of content online. And you always imagine if like your house had been broken into and the police are coming in, you've been in the back room and the police are coming in and you're like, your missus is there. It's a brilliant bit. But anyway, move on to a game that I have been playing, not just demo, the full game. It's free on Epic Games this week. So you've got until like Thursday, whatever next Thursday is. Next Thursday is the 15th. Yeah, so 15th of May, it's free on Epic Games. I highly recommend it. I've got into it in a big way. Literally downloaded it yesterday. I have a blast of it. It's called Touch Type Tail. And I was like, I can't believe this is like, watch for the volume, Jim, if you're gonna. Yeah, it says it's on. No, it's all the way down. Sorry, I saw the little speakers. I'm like, I'm going to be deafened. This has happened before. Yeah. So basically, it's a mini like RTS thing, but all the commands you have to just type words to do them. So by the way, I would have lost my mind if we'd had this in like school. Like this would have been, because it's actually a good little game. Like ignore that, it's a very basic. Like if it was mouse controlled, it would probably be like a very simple little like RTS thing, but you've got to control them, and every command is just a different word. It's not the same word either, so you've got to look. So the management is really good, and it was after I'd been thinking about this Chance of Sonar. What would it be like if I like played a game that uses my skills as a translator? I saw this. I'm like, I type all day. I'm like, I wonder if I'm any good at this. So I had a little blast of it, and it's like, it's really cool. Like, every like building in it, because it has these like, classic RTS kind of things where you like, it's not like you can like build a base, but you can get to certain places and build on those areas. Mm-hmm. So like, you start in like one corner and you've got like the town, and you've got these like mines. And in the mines, there's a mini game where you go along in a mine cart to like fill up stuff from the mines, and then you hire people in town to deliver the loot from the mines to give you your money, and then you use the money to like build either like a farm or different buildings that will just like automatically like populate with units. So you can build it. You can build a stables, and every so often like a horseman will be built, and it will cost you like 10 gold or whatever, and it'll do that automatically until you tell it to stop doing it. And then once those units are on the map, they're at little like, it's all like path based. If you saw the trailer, you would have seen that, but it's all path based. It's not an open map as it were. But what you can do is you can tell them to go along different paths, and you do that by typing the word. But also, there's like more to it than that. You can't. It's not just a case of move these guys. You can split units up. You can pick from your different like 4 or 5 types of unit. So like literally to like, you go, right, there's like 4 horsemen there and there's 4 pikemen there, but I don't want them all to go there. So you have a split the unit option. So you can send half of them along one path, or you can pick one unit to go along. So you've got to press like Control K, and that'll put you in the little like split the unit thing. But then you can also press like Control P, and it'll like just pick the horseman. And then you type the word, and then those horsemen will go down that path. And there's things where like the horsemen are better when they're in motion, so you've got to use them to like get enemies who are on the paths approaching you, whereas the pikemen are better once they're set up, so you want them stopped at like junctions. And I'm really early into it, but there was a great mission last night that I was proper getting, is where you've got to collect taxes from a village. So you've got your little base, and then there's this village, and each of the junctions adds like suppression to an impending like riot or revolution. So the more units you have placed, the higher your like suppression tolerance is. Okay. And for every like evil action you do, it fills up this little suppression bar, and if it gets past the like your suppression level, it triggers a riot and loads of little like baddies come out and start attacking you. But your mission is to collect the taxes, and every time you like go and like basically shake someone upside down by their ankles to get their taxes out of them, which is a little mini game as well, where you've got to like send a unit to the house, type the word to open their house menu. Then you've got like type the letter that knocks on their door, which is normally like 3 times. And every time you hit the letter, it goes dong, 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 knocks on the door. Then you've got like your burly assistant like holding them upside down by their ankles, and you've got to press like 2 buttons on the key to shake them up and down as the coins come out of them, and that money goes into your treasury, which you can use to build more units and that. But that also gets the town angry, and they're like, 2 arms, and then they all come out and you're like, oh fuck, everyone's spread across the town and all these like rioters are running at my base and I can't collect any taxes. And it's like, it's needlessly complex for a game that looks and is advertised like it is just like a touch typing thing, which I think is why it's not like, which is why it's like free on Epic this week and why it hasn't done as well, because I think they've, unfortunately, I think like I think it's just the name. Like I was going to play it as a laugh, thinking, going, this is just a stupid game that was free on Epic, and it is surprisingly good. And it's like,
so the marketing hasn't done the game justice.
It hasn't, but I also think it is a hard, like, it's definitely a hard sell, because it is, you know, it's called Touch Type Tale. So it just sounds like an educational like pack-in game that you'd get. I mean, years ago there was that like Typing of the Dead, the House of the Dead typing game for the PC, which I never played, but I saw it advertised in like every game in HMV we'd go into when we were younger. It's like, it was always there. It was House of the Dead, but to shoot the baddies, you had to type words, which is not quite the same, because that is just typing the words, whereas this has that extra level of like strategy over the top. So
yeah, you got to think about
the typing is just the interface. But there are like all the mini games are how good you are at typing, but you've still got to think your way around it. And I'm not getting bested by not being able to type fast enough. I've failed some missions because I'm like, oh, this is actually strategically more complex than I expected, and I've got to think about it. It's not just a case of typing up every word that pops up on the screen. You've got to go, I need to send them, I need to split this unit, I need to send them down there. Obviously, it's not as expansive or complex and unforgiving as like Strategos or whatever, but for a game that looks like it's just a touch typing, like gamified touch typing, there's way more to it. Like, I'd highly recommend it if you've got, if you get into Epic Games this week, download it, because you're like, this shouldn't be this good. So yeah, proper enjoying it. I was up way later than I should have been last night trying to beat a level. I was like, I need to go to bed, but like I was totally getting into it.
Yeah, I think we've we don't pre-plan any of this stuff of what we're going to share, but I think the ones from today have all been very different flavors.
Yeah.
I've got one more that
I
wouldn't mind sharing as one that I like the look of. It's called Crown of Greed.
Mm-hmm.
So this popped up on our feed. I think these guys might have joined in on one of the threads that we did. So it's either Screenshot Saturday or Wishlist Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I was looking through it, as we do. There's proof that we looked through it, obviously, right here, because I saw this one pop up and I thought, oh, that looks really interesting. So it kind of reminds me of
looks like Age of Empires.
Yes,
so like 3D Age of Empires.
A fantasy version of Age of Empires.
Shut up and take my money.
Yeah, it definitely has that nostalgia feel for me, but it looks really nice, and I like the idea of it being like the fantasy element of it, because I don't know if you remember, Joe, there was a game called Age of Mythology.
I was going to say, did you play the mythology one? That didn't miss the mark, didn't it?
I really liked it.
Oh, you did? Really I think some players had complaints that it was like the gameplay itself wasn't as good. Obviously, if it's like,
I think it has quite a cult following, because they remastered it and re-released it like a year ago or something, and it did really, really well.
Right.
Haven't bought the remaster, but this just has that feel for me of those old school RTSs where you can see the health bar of every individual unit, and they all have the same like 2 animations that they do, and you build the cities in little square, like the little grid formations and stuff. But I like the fantasy element of it. I just thought that one caught my eye. I thought I'll keep an eye on that, and wouldn't mind giving that a blast further down the line. And there is a demo, so I'll probably download that and give it a go, because it's not due out for another half of a year. I think Q1 2026.
Q1 2026. I've added that to the Indie Bandits wish list. make sure that's on there. I've also, even though we've got it, added touch type tail there as well, just so I'll get a notification if it goes on sale or something. Tell the people they need to start typing. Would it be all right if I finish up with one game I just need to give a mention to?
No.
No,
we can't do that, unfortunately. We're out of time.
All right, see.
That's all you've got That's all you've got for this week. You have to pay more for the rest of it. Which one?
Ties. I assume it's called Ties. The thing is, I went and played this in real life. Had a go of their like demo build. It's got no date on it yet, but yeah, I had a blast of this few weekends ago when I popped down to the indie game show in Fuengirola, which I couldn't get there to a second day, but in the morning I was able to get down. So it's quite a distance from where I am currently, and we had some other stuff on that Saturday, seeing old pals and stuff. But I was able to get in and have a blast of this, and it's a wee Metroidvania where I couldn't tell if it was a fox or like a raccoon. I don't think they said what kind of animal it was. I was too busy playing it, but it's a little like Metroidvania thing that's really like stylistic and nice. And I was
it looks cool. Yeah, it looks very nice.
I was having to go with a demo build. I got very, very stuck on it. I had to embarrassingly be told. Basically, I missed something like early on that had a lot of backtracking.
Were you being too gung-ho, Joe?
It was all the gungs, all the hoes. Yeah, it was just a case of me. I'd gone past something and hadn't noticed a path. And like with these games, backtracking is involved in it. But this was me backtracking to something that an upgrade that gave you much better and nicer movement. So that was quite annoying because I was still in like the early stages where you couldn't like do much like running and dashing and stuff. So I think it was the dash I had to get to, and I'd missed it. And I had to go back a long way without the dash. I was getting annoyed. That was on me, not on them. But I think it was I find it harder, like on like games festivals and conference room floors, to like really play the way you want to, because obviously you are sat in a room with just a bunch of people standing around you. It's not like playing at home.
Pressure, isn't it?
There's this kind of weird pressure, and you too.
This bit looks like oh, you haven't seen it, have you? That's that Arcane show on Netflix.
No, I've heard it's very good.
It has that kind of look to it, a little bit anyway. But
yeah, highly recommend this. It looks, from what I played in the demo, it was good. I think the demo is available on Steam as well, so you can have a try of it for yourself. Like I said, I played the early bit where before you've got a lot of the like movement power-ups and stuff, but I think it's one of these things where it's the movement and everything's going to be much more fluid and rewarding as the game progresses. But obviously in classic Metroidvania fashion, you've got to start with nothing and be kind of rubbish and do that kind of crack on. But it was it was nice chatting to the devs. I also down there bumped into the devs from how do you pronounce it, like Sigellum, the one we talked about a few episodes back, the one that's got my old flat in it in Malaga, the horror game. I was chatting to those guys as well. I was saying I'd seen them in the found out about them in a like local news article. So I was chatting to them and chatting to some other folks there. So it was a nice little morning I spent down there playing that. I assume it's Ties. It's capitalized, so I didn't know if it was TIES or Ties, but spelled like spelled like Ties. They gave us a wee sticker. Let's I'll get that on my cheeky laptop, and yeah, highly recommend it if you're into Metroidvanias and that kind of stuff. Like I said, not out for a while yet, but pop it on your wish list.
There's a demo.
And there's a demo, yeah, which I almost got to the end to. I was kind of, with the way I'd made such a big mistake, I felt bad about hogging it for so long with like other people wanting to have a go of it, and I kind of took up everyone's time. So I was like, it's a good game, but yeah, he's like, you're nearly at the end of the demo. I'm like, yeah, but there's people waiting, and like, yeah, I've got the idea. I don't want to hold up the queue. But yeah.
Do you remember years ago when you'd get your video games magazines and they would come with the demo disc on the front?
I love that. Remember we did this for a while. We had our demo disc articles, and initially the artwork and thumbnails for those articles were based on the old UK PlayStation magazine demo discs that I don't know if you remember them. They were numbered and like a different color each time. We went with that for a while, but then it was just like by the time you'd done all the colors, editing those graphics for those thumbnails were too time consuming, and also the joke had kind of run its course. So we just started using more modern internet style thumbnails for those articles, and then eventually when we dropped those kind of article types, that was the end of it. But yeah, we did used to obviously showcase all the demos that we'd come across on the website, and as a kind of would have loved to. I talked to some devs about this actually a while ago about the potential of like bringing back demo discs, and not physically, because like it's not very green in the internet age to do that. But I really would have loved to have an installer that would just like pass you the demos, like curate the demos and then show them off to you, and have every like. That's what we were kind of trying to do with the article, but it's not quite the same. What I really wanted was something where it goes, install this. This is demo disc 1, and have it as kind of like not just the actual demos themselves, but the experience. Because remember, there was the menu within it, and you'd pick the game. Like it had its own menu. Like, and some of them were videos, some of them were demos. I was like, that's what you want. That like kind of like curated discovery, but like in game, even if it is just like a game menu. That's what needs to be brought back.
Yeah, I remember.
But it's a hard thing to do because you have to build a program and then install it, and you'd have to install that, and then you'd have to have all the games in there which are also installed already and have them run. So
probably more of an effort than anyone's willing to put into it. But it's a shame because I remember I remember playing a Medieval.
I love that game.
Demo for like
that got remastered not too long ago, I think, for 4.
Did it? Spyro the Dragon and Medieval demo that I had, and I used to like replay them over and over. Never played the full games of either of them, but I just.
There's a few like that. I was gonna say, do you remember Overboard, the pirate ship one, the little like top-down pirate ship game? I played that demo to death, and I forget the name of it, but The Forbidden Cube, and it's got like.
I didn't think much of that game, to be honest.
No, but it was just
play it and just get crushed by this thing.
Yeah, because that was funny. That was the same demo disc, I think, with Overboard and The Forbidden Cube on it.
The one with the little ball where you ran across the little platforms and jumped across to the next one, and you had to get around the course.
Is that Kula World? Kura World?
Kula World, yeah. It was like a little beach ball thing that you jump across onto different places. Yeah. I'm trying to think now, did I just have one demo disc?
Kula World.
The same demo over and
Kula
over
World on the PS1, But I remember... But it worked because that's why I bought, I think, Music. Do you remember the game Music that was just, you put samples down? I think I bought that off the back of a demo. I'm fairly certain there was like a tiny version of Music with like a very limited sound library or something. I might be misremembering this, but there was, Armored Core. That's how I got an Armored Core on a demo disc. Do you remember that was a really comprehensive demo? We used to play that all the time at my nan's house. The demo version where you could each build your own, like there was like 5 parts to each of the...
Yes, I remember
the mechs.
Very limited.
There were like 2 or 3 missions from the game in it, but they had the multiplayer mode in it with very limited parts as well. And we'd play the death out of that. We'd just like build it because it had the paint mode and everything. Like a lot of the customization was still in there.
Yeah, if you weren't like the biggest gamer, that would be enough probably for most people just to jump in and out of that. Especially if the fact it had the multiplayer function on it.
Well, that's it. But then we discovered it, and I've been a fan of those games since then, like since that demo, like that one demo has made me buy like God knows how many Armored Core games. I think was the latest one 6 or 7, I forget. And then there's all the like intermediate ones as well. There's like the non-mainline series. They do like a 1.5s and 1.7s where it's not quite the new one, but they just like almost like expansion packs, but they're standalone games.
I'm trying to think if there's any demo that I played where I just like that then got me. I can't remember. I mean, if like some of them I was probably just buying because I wanted to buy. Was there a Total War demo? Did I play that? I don't even remember.
I used to buy the
War because it came off the back of playing Age of Empires, and I was like, oh, that just seems like the next logical step to take is a bigger version of this.
You were a bit later to PlayStation though, weren't you? Because I remember.
Yeah, I was.
The games got too
not
big
long
by
before
PS2 though. But I think PS2 the games were too big, so you didn't get as many like playable demos. It seemed, and they didn't want to like waste a DVD on them. Do you know what I mean? Like CDs were commonplace, so they just throw out like a demo CD. Whereas if you got a DVD, it'd be a video DVD, and it would just be like trailers, and that wasn't as good. Though I was watching the old Gran Turismo 3 trailer the other day, the one with Just a Day by Feeder on it.
Oh,
well, I thought this was the
demo. Gran Turismo demo I played like relentlessly as well, and that actually, to be fair, that got me into buying Gran Turismo. So I'd say that's probably one that worked.
Was that the scratch and sniff one? Do you remember that? That smelled like a tire. Do you remember that disc? There was a there was a Gran Turismo game. The game itself had like a car smell disc. It was really weird.
Unless that disc is one that I had I never knew about, and mine is still in pristine condition, unscratched.
Oh no, it's the top surface of it was like really weird. But yeah, oh man, it makes me want to bring back demo discs again.
Just to recapture the nostalgia of it. I remember used to just love flicking through the magazines and just seeing like what's coming out and what's being reviewed, and like, yeah, they were good magazines. I enjoyed my subscriptions to the gaming magazines when I was younger.
There's still a few knocking around, but as you know, print media is a little harder to. It's a hard thing to push now. You really have to make like a quality product to make it worthwhile now. And
yeah, for sure.
But maybe, I mean, it's something similar to kind of what we're trying to do here anyway. It's not, not in the same way because we don't have an entire team of like editors and printers behind us, but definitely something like we want to try and recapture that, just like that, like discovery, like whether it's like through us talking on the podcast, videos, the shorts we do, when we get back into like articles, the newsletter, sign up to that via the website, indiebandits.com if you haven't, because that's kind of what we're doing there, just kind of like curating stuff and kind of giving you opportunities to discover games like we've done today. It's like, bit by bit, we'll just let you know like what we've discovered, and most importantly, like from the community where we can. Obviously, we get the most community engagement through a lot of the threads we put up on Twitter/X, and that means a lot of those games aren't out yet, but it's worthwhile just having them in your wish list just for when they do finally come out. You'll get that notification.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
and then you can enjoy that discovery like we did, us old farts, when we used to get PlayStation magazine and demo discs and shit like that.
Yeah, but yeah, no, just to reiterate that the newsletter probably is. It's probably one of the best things to sign up for what we're doing, because you can digest that information when you want and how you want. It's not it's probably the easiest thing to do if you struggle for time, or when you can jump in and out of content. The newsletter is probably the best thing. So every month it'll land with some good suggestions and some roundup of interesting content that we found as well. It's a nice curated monthly digestible format, isn't it?
Yeah, videos, articles, game recommendations. It's like if you like indie games, we're going to bring all that stuff together just in, like you said, monthly. So it's not we're not going to be constantly spamming you with stuff. It's just once a month. We've brought everything together for you. It's a way to catch up with what we do here. If you missed that during the month as well, obviously we'll let you know what we've been up to throughout the month, and just cool indie game stuff.
Yep, that's it. Cool. Right. Well, let's wrap this episode up. It's a double-length episode again, Joe.
We're catching up for all the ones we missed because of audio shite and all that kind of nonsense.
Yeah. I feel like doing the because we're so close to hitting an hour, I want to do that bit from showing the age here, the Alan Partridge bit, where he's trying to wait until the news gets exactly right. So he just fake laughs for like a minute. He's like, aha, aha, ha, ha.
So just laugh for a minute now.
Just laugh for a minute, and then at the end just go news, and then
trying to get the link sorted. The thing is, when this video gets cut, it's going to be shorter. You're getting there, Jim, though. We can just fake laugh. Or I can just put the world's longest fade out on this minute. Just when we get through it, they're like, what are these two twats doing? Just,
aha, 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 aha.
So dumb. I've heard a lot of other podcasts actually do this though, where they have like a solid finish and then they like put their outro music on, and then it comes back with like a little preamble at the end of them just chatting any old shite. This will be us. You got 15 seconds though, Jim. If you want to just fake laugh for 10 seconds.
Now we've said it, I'm just going to end it right now, just abruptly.
Do it.
Mid conversation.
You don't have the balls. See you later.
No.
You don't have the balls. You got 3 seconds to fake laugh, Jim. Do it.
Ha ha ha. New.